New Yorkers have been rocked by two news alerts in recent days. First came the announcement that a Manhattan jury had acquitted Daniel Penny of criminally negligent homicide in the subway death of Jordan Neely. Second came news that the cops in Altoona, Pennsylvania had captured Luigi Mangione, who the week before allegedly gunned down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in front of the Hilton Hotel on 6th Avenue.
In a civil society, we are all less safe when ideologues engage in vigilante justice.
Both of these developments are positive and follow a horrific stabbing spree in Lower Manhattan before Thanksgiving, in which 3 people died. The alleged stabber, Ramon Rivera, is a well-known madman who had been arrested and released numerous times, as had Jordan Neely. For about 20 years, from the mid-1990s, when Rudy Giuliani was mayor, and through Mike Bloomberg's mayoral terms, New York City was almost totally safe.
We used to be called the crime capital of the world. Now we just call ourselves the capital of the world.
But by 2015, the situation was changing after Bill de Blasio became mayor, winning in part on a pledge to roll back policing tactics like stop and frisk, which did deter crime.
We changed the approach, we changed the policy, and numbers are abundantly clear. In the first quarter of 2013, there were nearly 100,000 stops. In the same period for this year, 14,000 stops.
Following the Parkland High School shooting in Florida in 2018, Donald Trump brought up the issue of mental hospitals, which were closed down in the 1970s.
You used to be able to bring him into a mental institution, and hopefully he gets help or whatever. But he's off the streets.
Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, and with crime worsening, commuters in New York City were frightened to ride the subway home to the outer boroughs.
I'm redeploying nearly 1,000 members of the New York State Police, MTA Police, and MTA National Guard to conduct bag checks in the city's busiest transit stations.
Just after Donald Trump won the 2024 presidential election, the City University of New York Graduate Center produced a fascinating map of all the city's voting districts, showing the percentage of Mr. Trump's gain in vote share from 2020. The move to the right is striking.
The 3 main threats that he repeated over and over was, I'm going to kill you, I'm prepared to go to jail for life, and I'm willing to die.
After Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg decided to indict Daniel Penny for Mr. Neely's death, public reaction split along familiar lines, with conservative groups adopting Mr. Penny's cause and left-wing activists demonstrating outside the courthouse for his conviction.
Today, the KKK, the Klansmen, the evil in America got another victory.
If this trial had occurred soon after the 2020 George Floyd killing in Minneapolis, Mr. Penny almost certainly would be in prison. Instead, a jury reached no verdict on manslaughter and acquitted him of a lesser charge.
I was scared for myself, but I looked around, I saw women and children. He was yelling in their faces, saying these threats. I couldn't just sit still.
My reading, New York City's residents are basically okay with this result, since the alternative would have been to confirm D.A. Bragg's determination to imprison Mr. Penny for preventing yet another act of random, often fatal violence. It's a trend that is not limited to New York.
The voters of L.A. County rejected extreme pro-criminal policies.
In November, progressive Los Angeles prosecutor George Gascon was overwhelmingly ousted. California voters also approved a significant anti-crime initiative. The shorthand version of these events is that voters are moving right. Perhaps. More precisely, they are repudiating public policies and governing models that just don't work. The question is, will they restore policies that do work, such as broken windows theory?
Just as a broken window left untended is a sign that nobody cares and leads to more damage, so disorderly conditions and behavior left untended is a sign that nobody cares and leads to fear of crime, more serious crime, and urban decay.
Former New York Police Commissioner Bill Bratton, who along with Ray Kelly put broken windows theory into practice, spoke at a Manhattan Institute event honoring Kelling's work.
People are alive today because police across the country embrace quality of life policing and the notion that stopping little things because they got big mattered. It was a radical, simple idea, and and the cops gravitated towards it.
Yeah, whatever, man.
After the Penny acquittal, agreement emerged that the system failed Jordan Neely. And that would be the so-called mental health system, which also failed the triple stabber and so many others.
The president, by saying maybe we need more mental hospital beds and expanded inpatient capacity, has a point.
Starting in the 1970s, the deinstitutionalization movement closed public mental health facilities on the promise of providing prescribed medications in community settings.
The problem is that it was easy to say we're going to close hospitals, we're going to reduce the budgets of states for mental health services, but they didn't provide anything in order to care for people in the community that's required. And as a result of that, we have the homelessness, the prisoners with mental illness, the mass violent events, the addictions, and a variety of social pathologies.
The abandonment to the streets of the mentally ill may be America's longest-running, catastrophically failed public policy. It created the Penny Neely encounter and countless other human tragedies.
3, 2, 1.
This is the season of hope. So no harm in hoping that the Penny jury's verdict is the start of a big, necessary social correction.